High-class prostitutes known as escorts, call girls, or madames typically find clients through escort agencies, but in some cases they work individually. Escort agencies target women who are not only attractive but well-educated and charming, because clients pay a large price for more than sex. Clients don't want to feel as if they're forcing someone into sex because they need the money. Agencies interview potential escorts to make sure they have quality, seductive customers. Men that pay an expensive amount of money an hour for escorts are industry leaders, powerful politicians, lobbyists, or professional athletes. They pay anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 for 1 hour of service. The amount of money varies depending on an escort's sexual attractiveness or competition from other sources. Escort agencies may charge more money for twins, former porn stars, or models. Though sex is primarily an escort's job, it isn't included in the hourly charge. Customers must negotiate a price with the agency or the escort for additional sex services. The majority of requests made by clients, no matter how bizarre, are usually agreed upon. One of the few requests denied is sex without any form of protection. Escorts almost always require condoms, even when clients are paying the most expensive prices, yet escorts are often asked to have sex without sexual protection for more money. Usually these requests are denied, but contrary to popular belief, one of the common requests is the girlfriend experience. Former escorts recall being asked to pretend as if they are on a date and making small talk with their clients. In the early 19th century, being a call girl or madame was one of the few ways females could make high wages, and it was by far the most high-paying occupation for women at the time. When feminists were fighting for women's rights, prostitutes already had them. They were free from the patriarchs that came with marriage. Madames gambled and drank with their clients, where married women had never been allowed. Madames wore a fashion considered provocative at the time. Even lipstick was considered the scarlet shame of streetwalkers. Prostitution was especially popular in Japan and France. Paris was even called the prostitution capital of the world. In the 1940s, during World War II, anti-prostitution propaganda was common, stating that prostitutes carried sexually transmitted infections in public service announcements or advertisements for medicine.
What's unfortunate about that is that represents maybe 5% or so of women or children who are in prostitution. The women who are there who haven't suffered abuse, and who are able to get out because they meet some knight in shining armor. But the vast majority of people, that's not their story. And what's the worst part about that is when the media only shows those parts, then the vast majority of the population thinks, oh, well, that must be what's true. And so they create an enormous battle for us to say, no, that's only this tiny little portion of the story, and you need to see the much bigger story. So they cut out our work for us.
I agree. Glamorization of prostitution is found in movies such as Pretty Women, Chloe, and the television show The Secret Diary of a Call Girl.
It's an interesting field because there actually is a lot of controversy surrounding it, in that people will say, oh, well, prostitution isn't actually that bad. We don't need to be fighting for an issue like this because wasting your time, it's just going to be around forever anyway. But these were people who were on the other side of the fight. In my particular profession, not exactly. Most of the people who are activists in this particular field are women, which in some ways is hard. We would love for there to be more male voices also speaking out about this issue, but because it is something where it's largely women and children who are the ones who are being exploited, I think for whatever reason that means that there are a lot of... There's never really been, specifically as an activist, a challenge to me as to why I'm in this field. Short answer? The abolition of prostitution. But I think that's a step-by-step process. I think part of what my work is with prostitution research and education is to really help make people aware that in prostitution, it is the exploitation of women and children. that it's not something that should be considered a profession and should be considered something that's empowering, when most of the women who are in it are the women who are poor, who are impoverished, who maybe were abused as children, and who have had just a hard time in life kind of before they ever entered the life. And so what our goal is to abolish prostitution, to provide resources for these women, for these children to get out, and to really take hold of opportunities that maybe other people take for granted, to help them realize that there is so much that they can do, that they are able to do, and to help to give them a voice as well.
But square, cut, or pear shape, these rocks don't lose their shape. Diamonds are